Barrister Steven Barrett has urged Prime Minister Keir Starmer to resign following the death of a man killed by a prisoner who was released under Labour's early release programme. During an appearance on GB News, Barrett stated that Starmer is directly responsible for the fatality. The incident involved a prisoner who committed murder on the very day he was released from custody. Barrett emphasised that the death was directly attributable to the Prime Minister's policies and actions, asserting that this tragedy was completely unnecessary and wasn't unforeseeable. Leah Matthews, 26, was released from HMP Holme House in Stockton-on-Tees on the morning of September 18 as part of the government's emergency measures. Just hours later, he was involved in a brutal knife attack against Lewis Bell, a 26-year-old father. The court heard that Bell was pursued like prey over a drug dispute. Matthews and an 18-year-old named Ashton White were convicted of manslaughter, while Sean McLeod, 23, was found guilty of murder. Matthews had previously served 22 months for violent disorder after a street fight incident. Barrett rejected the argument that prison overcrowding necessitated the early release program. He stated, "If we can create Nightingale hospitals overnight, we can establish Nightingale prisons just as quickly." When the presenter Emily Carver suggested that the Prime Minister might argue a lack of space in prisons, Barrett labelled that claim as clearly nonsense. He insisted that if the government truly needed to keep inmates incarcerated, they could have developed solutions akin to those implemented during the pandemic. The Ministry of Justice defended the early release scheme, explaining that the government inherited prisons on the verge of collapse. A ministry spokesman stated that if that had occurred, police would have had to stop making arrests, putting the public at great risk, and emphasized that there was no alternative but to introduce the emergency release program. The spokesman also confirmed that the situation would be fully investigated as a serious further offense. Despite these measures, forecasts suggest that prisons will return to full capacity by early 2026. Barrett drew comparisons to Boris Johnson's time as Prime Minister, saying, "If a Prime Minister can be held accountable for parties attended by civil servants during lockdown, then this Prime Minister must be held responsible for this." He added, "I've never known a sitting Prime Minister to be directly linked to a death." Lewis Bell's family expressed their devastation over the loss of a much-loved father, son, brother, and uncle. The three men involved in the case are scheduled for sentencing on June 19.